When the world goes silent, a broken bar, and you're left alone with your thoughts, a broken bar, that's when the real battle begins. You lie in bed, the lights are off, but your mind, it won't stop. Regret, fear, doubt, the noise inside your head grows louder than anything outside, and you wonder, why does it hurt so much to simply be human? Let me tell you something no one says often enough. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to feel lost, but it is not okay to give up. You don't control what happens to you, but you control how you respond. Life will strike, without warning, without mercy. It will arrive like a storm you didn't see coming, ripping through the calm with no explanation, no negotiation, and no apology. One moment you're standing in peace, the next, you're staring into the chaos. A lost job, a broken heart, an unexpected illness, the betrayal of someone you once trusted, the death of someone you loved. The first instinct is always to ask why? Why me? Why now? Why this? But the Stoics would tell you, that question is futile, because nature doesn't bend to our desires. Fortune doesn't knock on the door and ask for permission before entering or leaving. What happens, happens. You were never promised anything more. That truth might sound cold, but within it lies something beautiful, something freeing. While you cannot control what life throws at you, you have absolute power over how you respond. In fact, that is the only thing you've ever truly owned. The ancient Stoic Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who knew suffering both as a ruler and as a man, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is not just philosophical. This is practical, life-changing, soul-sustaining. Imagine this: two people lose everything, their homes, their money, their status. One becomes bitter, angry, defeated. The other becomes humble, focused, and resilient. The loss was the same. The pain was the same. The outcome, entirely different, because their response was different. Your response is where your freedom lies, and that freedom, that inner command, is more powerful than anything external the world can take away. Think of Viktor Frankl, a man who lived through the unspeakable horrors of a concentration camp. He was stripped of his family, his freedom, and his dignity. But he later wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Even in that place of darkness, he found light, not because of what happened, but because of how he responded. This is Stoicism in action. You may not choose the storm, but you can become the captain who sails through it. You may not choose the wound, but you can become the healer who learns from it. Life will test you. People will hurt you. The world will not always be fair. But if your peace is dependent on the behavior of others, on the outcome of plans, or the stability of external events, then your peace will forever be fragile. The Stoic path teaches you to anchor your soul inward, to root your strength in something the world cannot touch: your mindset, your values, your decisions. Ask yourself in the hardest moments, what is within my control? What is not? You'll find that most of your suffering does not come from the event itself, but from your resistance to it, your fear, your assumptions, your imagined scenarios of what might happen next. But clarity begins the moment you focus not on what you lost, but on what you can still do. Right here, right now. You didn't choose to be abandoned, but you can choose not to abandon yourself. You didn't ask for the door to be closed, but you can choose to keep walking. You didn't expect life to fall apart, but you can choose to rebuild. And this choice, though it may feel small, invisible to the world, is the seed of transformation. It starts with your thoughts. Every response begins there. The Stoics believed that we suffer not because of events, but because of our judgment of them. Epictetus, a man born into slavery who became a great philosopher, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." If someone insults you, you are not hurt by their words, and you are hurt by your decision to believe those words meant something about you. If life delays your plans, you are not ruined by the delay. You are tested in patience, and strengthened in perseverance. If a dream crumbles, you are not defined by its loss, and you are revealed in your ability to rise again. You are not a puppet of fate. You are not at the mercy of chaos. You are a rational being, capable of reflection, of perspective, of choice. But make no mistake, choosing your response is not about toxic positivity. It does not mean pretending everything is okay when it isn't. It means owning your experience, all of it, feeling the pain, acknowledging the reality, but not letting it own you. It means saying, yes, this hurts, but I will not let it harden my heart. Yes, I've lost something, but I am not lost. Yes, this is difficult, but I was made to endure. It means replacing blame with responsibility, replacing complaint with clarity, replacing victimhood with power. That's the real Stoic strength, the quiet courage to stand still in the storm, to feel every emotion without being ruled by any of them, and to act with purpose when the world gives you every reason to react with panic. There's a moment in everyone's life where you hit the wall, where things go so wrong that it feels like something inside you has broken. But what if that break was the beginning of your becoming? What if that moment of powerlessness was the entry point into your deepest power? Because here's what most people never realize. Your greatest growth won't come during peace, it will come through adversity. Comfort never taught you discipline. Ease never taught you strength. It's pain that wakes you up. It's struggle that sculpts your character. And you don't have to love the pain to respect the process. You just have to understand this. Every setback is a setup, not for something external, but for something internal. A stronger you. A wiser you, a more grounded you. So next time life hands you something heavy, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, how will I choose to respond? Not just in this moment, but in the next, and the one after that. Because every moment is a new chance to choose again. You're not obligated to repeat your old reactions. You're not bound by the anger, the fear, or the despair of yesterday. Each day you are reborn, not physically, but mentally, spiritually. That's what listening to Stoicism every night does. It reminds you that you are the author of your own mind, not your boss, not your past, not your pain. You. Even now, the world might be chaotic, you might be facing something hard, but just pause, even for a few seconds, and remind yourself, I am not my circumstances. I am my response to them. This is not to dismiss your hardship. This is to honor it by rising through it. This is to whisper to yourself in the dark, no matter what happens outside of me, nothing can steal what I choose to become. That choice, that quiet, disciplined, unwavering response is where real power begins. Let me know if you'd like this formatted for a video voiceover, or if you want the next expanded key message. Listen to this every night, not to feel better, but to become better. When the day ends and silence settles over the world, there is a moment, a quiet space, where truth begins to rise. The masks come off, that distractions fall away, and you're left with one person, yourself. In that moment, the world is no longer asking anything from you. It's not judging you. It's not demanding your attention. It's simply still, and it's there, in that stillness, where transformation begins, not through noise, but through listening. Listening to something every night is not just routine. It's not just a motivational tool. It's a ritual of discipline, of direction, a conscious act of aligning your inner compass before the next storm arrives. Because every day, you are pulled in 1,000 directions, opinions, demands, expectations, emotions, and by the time night comes, you're worn thin. You've given so much energy outward that there's almost nothing left for yourself. But when you choose to listen to something purposeful, something powerful, something anchored in truth, you begin to reclaim yourself. Not to feel better, not to soothe your wounds with empty comfort, but to become better, stronger, wiser, calmer, more aware. There's a difference. The world is full of messages that promise to make you feel good. They tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. They sugarcoat the pain, blur the truth, and offer temporary relief instead of long-term growth. But Stoicism, the real kind, does the opposite. It doesn't promise comfort. It demands courage. It doesn't offer you ease. It offers you clarity. You listen to Stoic teachings not because they lift you up with false hope, but because they remind you who you are, what matters, and what you can control. They strip away illusion. They replace chaos with order, emotion with reason, and fear with understanding. And when you listen every night, you begin to internalize those truths, not instantly, not dramatically, but slowly, like water carving stone. You begin to train your mind the way a warrior trains for battle, consistently, patiently, with intention. And make no mistake, This world is a kind of battle. You face resistance every day, within and without. Resistance to wake up early. Resistance to stay focused. Resistance to remain calm when anger would be easier. Resistance to endure hardship without complaint. Resistance to hold on to your principles when it's easier to compromise. And when you're tired, when you've had enough, when the weight of life feels unbearable, it's easy to reach for something that numbs the pain. Something that tells you it's okay to stay the same. Something that comforts you into inaction. But that's not why you're here. You didn't come to this life to be comfortable. You came here to grow. And growth isn't soft. Growth is uncomfortable. It's humbling. It's raw. It demands that you shed old layers. That you let go of habits, ideas, even identities that no longer serve you. That you face yourself honestly, not just when it's convenient, but when it's hardest. Listening every night is a choice to step into that fire willingly. It's not about hype. It's not about good vibes. It's about becoming someone who doesn't break every time life bends. Becoming someone who doesn't need the world to be fair to remain grounded. Becoming someone who walks through fear and chooses discipline over despair. It's about forming an identity that can withstand what others cannot have, because it's not based on external validation, but internal virtue. Every night, when you play those words, you are planting seeds of strength, seeds of resilience, seeds of presence and purpose. They may not bloom tomorrow, but they will bloom, because repetition creates reality. What you feed your mind, you become. And every night that you choose truth over comfort, discipline over distraction, philosophy over passivity, you are carving out a stronger version of yourself. The Stoics knew this well. They journaled, they reflected, they repeated core principles daily, not because they forgot, but because they knew how easily the mind drifts, how easily the soul forgets what matters. Repetition wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." What does that mean? It means that your mind is your battlefield, not the world, not your circumstances, but your perception. And if you don't train that perception, if you don't guard your thoughts and examine them nightly, then your mind will become your master instead of your servant. That's why you listen, to stay awake, to stay aware, to stay in control of the one thing that will determine the entire quality of your life, your mindset. Night is the perfect time for this practice. Why? Because it's the end of the day. The performance is over. You can finally be real. You can look back, not with regret, but with reflection. What did you do well? Where did you fall short? What triggered you? What tested you? What strengthened you? The goal is not to judge yourself, but to refine yourself. And when you pair this with powerful words, with grounded truth, with discipline, reflection, you begin to transform. Slowly, quietly, consistently. From the inside out, you become harder to shake, harder to deceive, harder to break. You no longer need motivation. You embody dedication. You no longer wait for inspiration. You create momentum through action. You no longer collapse under chaos. You become the calm inside it. And that's what listening every night is really about. It's not emotional entertainment. It's spiritual construction. You're not here for a bedtime story. You're here to build something eternal. You listen every night to remind yourself of your duty, your virtue, your path. You listen every night to train your soul to respond, not react. You listen every night to prepare your mind for tomorrow's wait, because you've carried today's with discipline. And even on the days you fail, especially on those days, you still listen, because failure is not the end. It's the forge, the fire, the teacher. And when you fail, you don't run from yourself. You return to yourself. You come back to the voice that doesn't flatter you, but sharpens you. You come back to the truth that doesn't soothe your ego, but saves your spirit. You come back to the discipline that doesn't promise escape, but promises elevation. And slowly, you change. You begin to need less praise. You begin to seek less approval. You begin to fear less loss, because your worth is no longer determined by the world day, but by the work you put in. Every single night, you no longer chase feeling good. You chase being good, being just, being wise, being brave. And if you fall short, you don't shame yourself. You try again. You get quiet. You reflect. You recenter. You rise. That's the Stoic path. That's the warrior's path. Not perfect, but present. Not always strong, but always striving. So when you lie down each night, Understand what you're doing when you press play. You're not escaping reality, you're facing it. You're not reaching for comfort, you're reaching for conviction. And you don't do it to feel better for a few minutes. You do it to build a foundation that holds for a lifetime. That is why you listen, not for ease, not for escape, but to become. Let me know when you're ready for the third expansion, or if you'd like this adapted for any media use. You are not what happened to you. You are who you choose to become. There are moments in life that split you open, moments that knock the breath out of your chest and leave a silence inside you that feels louder than any noise. Moments that define the chapters of your past, the betrayal you didn't see coming, the loss that left a scar, the failure that shook your belief in yourself, the childhood that wasn't fair, the love that turned to pain. These moments shape your memories, they influence your choices, they live in the background of your mind, whispering stories about who you are and what you're worth. But the truth is this: you are not what happened to you, you are who you choose to become. That single truth holds the power to break chains of identity that were wrapped around you by circumstance, chains of shame, guilt, resentment, and helplessness. The past may be a part of you, but it does not define you. The past is a place of reference, not residence. You are not bound to it. You are not sentenced to repeat it. You are free, whether you believe it yet or not. The Stoics taught this over and over. Epictetus, born into slavery, could have allowed his pain to define him. He could have clung to the injustice of his suffering and used it to justify bitterness, but he didn't. He wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Even as a slave, he chose his response. He chose his character. He chose his direction. That choice, your response, your direction, your identity, it's yours. No one can take it from you. And yet, many people hand it over without even realizing it. They say, "I am broken because of what happened. I am this way because someone hurt me. I'll never succeed because I've always failed." But that's a story. A painful one, yes, but still, just a story. And stories can be rewritten. You are not the hurt someone gave you. You are not the labels someone placed on you. You are not the echoes of your darkest days. You are the soul who survived those days. You are the one still breathing, still standing, still choosing. Choice, that's where your power lies. Not in the moment you were struck down, but in the moment you decided to rise. Not in what they did to you, but in what you did after. And every day, every night, that choice is still yours. You may have been shaped by pain, but you are sculpted by purpose. Pain is the fire. You are the metal. And the mind, when trained, becomes the blacksmith. There is beauty in this truth, a beauty the Stoics understood deeply. Because they didn't preach emotional numbness, they preached emotional responsibility. Life would bring tragedy, fate would be cruel, people would disappoint, but none of those things could decide who you would become unless you gave them permission. Seneca, who suffered exile, grief, and public disgrace, still found a way to write with wisdom and hope. He taught that adversity introduces us to ourselves, and that no misfortune is so great that it cannot be borne with dignity. And dignity, that's what you reclaim when you stop identifying with your pain and start identifying with your potential. This isn't denial. This isn't pretending bad things didn't happen. Stoicism isn't about forgetting. It's about framing. It's about stepping back and saying, yes, this happened, but what now? Who will I be because of it? Maybe someone abandoned you. That doesn't mean you are unlovable. Maybe you failed. That doesn't mean you are a failure. Maybe you were taken advantage of. That doesn't mean you are weak. You are not the event. You are the evolution that follows. Every great human story begins in struggle. The difference is in what comes next. Most people stay trapped in the first few chapters, unable to turn the page. But you are the author. You get to choose the arc. You get to change the tone. You get to write redemption into your own narrative. That begins with a decision to stop living as a reaction to the past and to start living as a response to your values. A decision to stop proving your worth to people who never saw it and start embodying that worth, day by day, through action, discipline, and vision. No one will save you from your past, but you don't need to be saved. You need to awaken. The past is over. You are here, alive, breathing, thinking, capable of becoming something new, something stronger, something wiser. You don't have to forget what happened. You don't have to ignore your scars, but you do have to stop letting them speak louder than your spirit. Your scars are not symbols of weakness, they are symbols of healing. Proof that the wound closed. Proof that the storm didn't win. Proof that you made it through. And now that you're here, what are you going to do with this life? Not the one you planned for, not the one you wish you had, but the one you've been given. This one, right now. That's what Stoicism teaches you to ask. What's in my control? What can I choose? No matter what happened before, you can choose to stand with courage. You can choose to speak with honesty. You can choose to build, to learn, to forgive, to walk away, to begin again. You can choose to be a light even in a world that tried to keep you in the dark. People will try to define you. Trauma will try to cage you. Doubt will try to mute you. But you don't belong to any of that. You belong to the part of you that refuses to surrender. You belong to the part of you that looks back and says, yes, that happened, but it didn't finish me. You belong to the moment you get back up. And yes, there will be days when you feel like the past is too loud, when the pain echoes too strongly, when the memory plays on repeat. But even then you still have a say. Even then, you can choose to take one step forward. You don't have to run. You don't have to roar. But if you can whisper the truth, I am more than what happened to me, then you've already won a battle most people never dare to fight. Because healing is not forgetting, growth is not erasing, becoming is not pretending it never broke you. It's deciding that what broke you will not be the end of you. You get to shape who you are now, not by pretending the past didn't happen, but by refusing to live in its shadow. You get to choose values that guide your steps: courage, wisdom, justice, temperance. You get to pursue excellence not for applause, but because it's the path that honors your potential. And you don't need anyone else to validate that choice. Let them think what they want. Let them hold on to their version of your story. You are not responsible for their understanding. You are responsible for your own becoming. So become, slowly, daily, quietly, boldly, without explanation, without apology. You are not the pain. You are the person who carried it. You are not the mistake. You are the one who learned from it. You are not the event. You are the one who rose after it. You are the author now. You are the sculptor now. You are the warrior now. The past may have shaped your starting point, but only you decide where you go from here. Do not chase happiness, seek meaning. And when you close your eyes tonight, let go of the things you cannot control. Let go of the lies your fears keep whispering. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are becoming. Endure with grace, fight with wisdom, and rise every single day with the quiet power of someone who refuses to quit.